$956 a square meter for a pole shed in New Zealand. Correct me if I'm wrong, drop your rates in the comments. So, West Coast, North Island, up in Kaipara Flats, pole shed fell down, 160 square meters, 20 meters by 8. The total cost was $153,977. I put a project timeline on 4 to 5 weeks for this project. The builder's hourly rate was $75 an hour, and I put a 15% profit margin on this project. Couple of project details before we get into the number crunching. No concrete slab. There was an existing block wall around the back exterior of the shed. We are reinstating that with a timber retaining wall. We've got 5 bays. The builder has let me know that a scissor lift is $600 a day. We're only going to allow that on site for 2 weeks. From the moment the poles are in, we'll use it to build the structure, put all the roof linings on, and getting ready for clad. Then we'll get it off site, and we can use mobile scaffolds, which are a lot cheaper. Marine grade roofing iron, which is extortionately expensive, so I highly not recommend using that if you can get away with it. So the total labor breakdown was 377 hours, 41 days for 1 guy, or 20 days for 2 guys, works out about 4 weeks or 4.5 weeks. I've given it a 4-week project timeline, okay? Demolition of the old shed, we have done a full breakdown of hours here. We've given 21.5 hours. That's at a digger driver rate at $90 an hour. Then what we've done is we've moved out to the retaining wall section. So that is a 1 meter high. We're allowing 200 by 50 mil rough sawn posts. Retaining wall posts spaced at 1 meter each. Obviously dig down will go around about 1 meter deep, so allow for 1.8 or 2.2 meter posts. So we've got a total line item breakdown there. Set out mark profiles, drill post holes, drill post hole retaining 1 meter apart. I've put both those post holes to be drilled for the SED post for the barn shed and the retaining wall post in the same area. And then we've got time to allow to clean out. So at a digger driver rate, we've allowed just over a day for these works to be done. Notice up in the P&G section, we've also allowed for the digger hireage and the transport up there. We've got 2 lots at $515, assuming that we will do the dig out for the retaining wall around the back in half a day, drill all the posts in a day, and maybe use the digger to stand the post for another day there. So retaining wall, we've got 1 meter higher plus a Nova coil to go in around the back. We've got $9,656. That is made up of a total of 70 labor hours at 75. And the materials coming in at a cost of $4,475. So for the retaining wall, $267 a linear meter for 1 meter high. That's 125 by 125 anchor posts, 200 by 50 rough sawn, and all your fixings as well. So I've also broken down the next section into full post install rate. So I've got full supply of 15 SED posts to hold up the barn. I've given this a budget of $14,457 or $963 per post. So I've got the posts, the SEDs at 6 meters sitting at $310 each. And then I've given the total labor time to mark out heights, posts, cut the post tops, and prep all the posts at 19 hours. So that's 2 days for 1 guy and a digger to go around and install, okay? So once again, to do all the posts install rate, $963. The full structure build, this is where things get a little bit juicy. It has been spec'd with a 300 LVL beam to go in. So I've broken the labor down into mark and install joist hangers, cut and install 300 by 45 LVL beams, which will be going in separately, bolted to the post. Prep grits of scaffolding into joist hangers. And what we will do is before these rafters go up, we'll pre-nail and mark out the joist hangers on there, save time climbing up and down a scaffold or on the scissor lift. So we have got a total labor budget of 110 hours to build the roof structure only. That's about a week for 2 guys to go through 5 bays and install all the 300 by 45 LVL beams and put all the 190 by 45 rafters spaced in at 1.5 meters, okay? So I've got the full roof structure at $127 a square meter to supply and install. So that's all timber, all labor hours, and all fixings, okay? I've also allowed an additional 32 hours to build out a little front kick-in, put an apex flashing on the front. It's kind of like a over-exaggerated eave on a house. It's about a 1.2 meter overspan off the side of the shed, probably to stop water coming in. So now we move into the cladding section. So we've got install roofing and cladding iron, $73,423, $458 a square meter to do the total roof and the total wall cladding surrounds, okay? So we've got the mark out marine grade iron, roof and cladding, 6 hours there. And then we've got the full breakdown from installing all the walls, all the ceiling, all the side ends, and all the box corners as well. So we've given a total labor budget there, 90 hours, so a week to go and do all of that work. I would say the roof would take around about 1.5 days, and then you'd allow the rest for the side cladding. Once you get it all pre-cut and you're just standing up and screwing off, it's not too bad. I've also allowed an additional 18 hours to do all of the side flashings as well, barge flashings and capping flashings down the back end. So that cost there was coming in at $458 a square meter for the roofing and the side cladding, okay? Gutters and downpipes, pretty simple, $2,887. We're just putting one fascia gutter on the back of the barn shed and one downpipe down, probably to hook into the Novacoil, $144 a linear meter. Now, I just want to point out here, the marine grade iron was super expensive. I did find a cost online. It was roughly $95 a square meter. We translated that into a linear meter rate and it was coming in around $70 to $71. So please keep that in mind if you are doing a barn shed and you're using marine grade iron. That shit is super expensive. So we've allowed all the fixings in there as well, 100mm rubber seal tech screws. I've allowed 8 packs of a hundy, roof barge flashings, wall flashings for the box corners, and an apex flashing on the front. Guttering we've allowed for commercial size, so we've gone $55 a linear meter versus $17 for residential. Gutter clips, downpipe clips, and miscellaneous fixings, that total cost is sitting at $1,900. For the concrete, we've allowed it in 2 separate line items down here, and we've allowed no pump. The concrete truck will be able to back in. As we can see, there's plenty of access there. So post-retaining, we've got 4.96 cubes. That's literally just for the retaining walls. $215 a cube, total budget $1,300. And concrete pour for the SED posts, bigger cubic meter for 15 posts, 5.46 cubic meters at $215. So the total cost for P&Gs was coming in at $10,225. That's sitting at around about an 8% P&G. Now notice that's quite a bit lower than standard residential building. You kind of be around 10 to 12%, but there's not as many consumable costs, cleanup costs, etc., and probably health and safety. Labor budget was coming in at $28,275 based off $75 an hour for a 4-week timeline. And materials, $95,000, $393. Now, feel free, everyone can comment below and say, oh, your pricing's miles off or your pricing's miles on. I'm literally doing an 80% ballpark takeoff here. The builder was super happy. He submitted this to insurance, so we'll find out if this job goes ahead. Once again, let me know if you've broken down your square meter rate on your pole shed. Comment below, let us know if we're miles off or if we're bang on the money. Cheers, guys.